good evening, and welcome to Conversations with Entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Alethea Brown with Mahogany Productions, and I am joined again tonight with my co-host. Let's start with you tonight, Chanel.
Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Chanel here with Moonglade Travel.
Julie.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Julie Logan, founder and CEO of J. Logan Business Support Services and owner-operator of Popcorn Heaven, Steel Creek.
And Jeff.
Everybody, it's Jeff White. Happy to be here. I'm the owner of the Yes We Did Virtual Learning Center.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Excellent.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Still alive.
Yeah, that's the most important, right? So
Still
tonight,
kicking.
our topic of discussion is going to be, so this is April is Financial Literacy Month, right? We all know Jeff has all that information, the multiple streams of income that we've talked about over the past. These are different topics of conversation that are nearest to Jeff's heart. So tonight, Jeff's going to take us down that road on different types of ways that things that we should be looking at in the financial market right now and different ways you can start investing. So Jeff, I'm gonna go ahead and let you take it and you tell me where you want to start because I know you have some things you want to share.
Well, first I'm gonna start with me.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because I don't know about you guys, but when I hear people talking about certain topics, I want to make sure they know what they're talking about and have some type of experience with it at least. I don't know about you guys, but I do. I don't like people who just talk about something and they have no idea they've never done it before. So before I even get started, I'm going to tell you guys about myself. Again, I'm Jeff White. I used to be a financial advisor, and I had a book of business where I had to literally cold call people all over the country to get them to buy stock. And this was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And it was very difficult, but it was a fun experience. I mean, I sold stocks, bonds, mutual funds, options, and did all of that. It did help with initial public offerings and got people, buying stock that was just initially, purchased or put on the market. So we did all types of good things like that. Did that for several years, and then I eventually moved to the back office of a brokerage firm. And from there, I was a trader where people would call in and I would literally place trades for them to buy stock. And this is all before the internet came around. So back then you would have to call to place trades on stock. Like if you want to buy 100 shares of Microsoft, you would call someone like me, place the trade, get the confirmation and relay it back to them. So I did all these different type of things as a broker. So I have a lot of information and a lot of experience with the stock market and markets and things of that nature. And so I did that for about 15 years. And I eventually just got tired of the industry and I moved on to, other things. But I still have a passion for investing in the stock market and just, trying to become financially free. So what I've learned over the years is this stuff is not taught in school. And there's so much information that people just don't know. And so what I like to do is I like to just talk to people who are interested because, not everyone is interested in this type of thing, but that's okay. So if they want to hear it, I'll gladly share it with them. But I also like to remind people that I have this experience, so I feel comfortable talking about it because I have this extensive background. So, I just like to let people know where I'm coming from. But one thing that I have noticed, like I said, is this isn't taught in school. And the basics that we are taught is you go to school, you get good grades, you get a job, and you work at that job, and you get your 401k, and you save for retirement, and then you live off your retirement savings. That's basically what we're taught. And what I've learned is that is one of the worst things you can do because that really doesn't help you get where you really want to go. Basically, what they're telling you is you're going to work, you're going to rely on that one paycheck, and you better hope you save enough money. And you better hope that the stock market is going to have enough money for you to live on and retire on. And that is a mistake. And one of the first mistakes is you have that one paycheck, and then that one paycheck is supposed to pay all your bills. It's going to pay your rent. It's going to pay your mortgage, your phone, your food, your vacation. That one paycheck is going to do all of that. And then if you don't have enough money, what are you taught to do? Get another job. Get a Can y'all still hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay.
When you said get
Before
another
you
job,
know it,
and after that you went.
okay. So you get another job, and then if you start making more money, the next thing you know, it's like, oh, I'm making more money now. So what can I do? Now I can buy more stuff. Now I can spend more money. So now next thing you know, you're in this vicious cycle. The more money you make, the more money you're going to spend. You're going to, get a bigger house. You're going to start, buying more fancy stuff because you have more money to spend. And all it does is it's a loop. So you're just steady working for money, working to pay your bills, working just to get by. And that sets you up for failure because if you lose your job, now you're really stressed because it's like, I got all these bills to pay. How am I going to pay these bills? And so what I just want to tell people is there's a lot more to just investing and, being financially free than people think. One thing that we all hear is, people like Dave Ramsey, they talk about live below your means, save as much as you can, and that can help you overcome tough times. I agree with that. But there's the other aspect of it that gets left out. And that is, in addition to living below your means and not spending all your money on things like that, what you want to do is you want to have multiple streams of income, preferably passive income. And that is the key. That is the key that is not taught in school that people need to at least be aware of. And I hear people all the time say, well, I don't need to do that. Why should I do that? I'm fine with what I have and I'm going to have enough for retirement. But one thing people forget is there are two things in retirement that can just destroy your savings. And the first one is if you get sick. Now, sickness is first off, is huge business, number one. And two, we all know medical expenses are ridiculous. If you think about how, excuse me, you have to have surgery for whatever reason, surgery is expensive, you know, very expensive. What if you have to live in a long-term care facility, assisted living facility, or if you have to have a nurse come to your house? What if you have to have some type of medication you have to take every day? That stuff is expensive and it'll just drain all your savings in a heartbeat. And another thing you got to worry about is what if you have to live in a retirement home? What if you have kids who are older or you got to take care of grandkids? And now you trying to live off your little retirement savings or your little social security check. Now you got all these other extra bills that you didn't anticipate coming around. That is some of the big problems that we have in our society that people need to just think about. No one wants to get sick. I mean, I know I don't. I don't want to get sick when I'm older. I want to be able to just live comfortably and go on vacations and take trips, like Chanel does, and be cool and be happy. But unfortunately, a lot of us can't do that because we're too sick. So then you have to ask yourself, what if I'm in a situation and I got to work, but I'm too sick to work? That's something that we must think about. And what I tell people is you got to have a plan B. What's your exit strategy? And this is something that we must start thinking about because a lot of people don't even consider that other side of it. So this is why I tell people you must have multiple streams of income and passive income. And lastly, when it comes to that, what if you don't want to work till you're 65? I mean, I don't. I don't want to work till I'm 65 and 70 and 75 years old unless I want to. Want to do something and have to do it are two different things. But if you want to do it, that's fine. But if you have to do it, you have to get to work and you have to do that hustle and bustle at age 70, that can be stressful too. My mother died at age 57. So she didn't even make it to retirement. So how can we tell someone, say for retirement, and you don't even know if you're going to make it to retirement? So this is where that multiple streams of income and the passive income comes in. And that's what I like to just set the stage and let people kind of understand where I'm coming from.
And I can definitely agree with that. So many different people are not really understanding the impact of this pandemic with everyone sort of being displaced and stuff, is actually going to impact what you're talking about. So it throws everybody off. Literally, if it's a year, it's throwing people off probably for 2 or 3 years. Just the idea of building back whatever finances that they did have built up, thinking we was only going to last for a couple months. Here we are going into the second year of this. So tonight is really going to be a eye opener for a lot of people. Chanel?
Yeah, great point, Steph, on all of that. Couple things that came to mind, a few of them, but one that I want you to touch on is you talking about, teaching children about money and finances. Can you talk about some strategies? Like I have an 11-year-old and she's always asking for something. We're trying to teach her responsibility that you earn money and then you can spend money, but about savings and balance and all that financial stuff. And I don't think 11 is too young. I'm even trying to teach my 7-year-old, and 5-year-old the same thing. But are there any tips and strategies that we can start to teach and educate our children about financial independence and finances and money?
Oh yeah, I have an 8-year-old, and I have that entrepreneur camp for kids, and he's a part of it. He actually teaches a section, and it's about gold and silver, and I can talk about that right now, real quick. When it comes to money, everyone thinks about the dollar, $5 bill, $10 bills, grants, Benjamins. It's all about the Benjamins. But what people don't realize is you have to learn the history of money. That is very important. And a lot of people may not realize that years ago, our dollars were backed by gold. Our dollar was backed by gold. But in 1971, Richard Nixon took us off what's called the gold standard, which means that our dollars are not backed by anything anymore. So a lot of people don't really think about gold and silver as money, but gold is actually money. And this is where, financial literacy and understanding the history of money comes in. So this is my point. It's very important to understand about gold and silver that it is still considered money. And many people are still collecting gold and silver only because they believe our dollars, it can eventually lose its value. And when it does, gold and silver increases in value. So Chanel, to get to your point, gold and silver, you can buy it and you can collect it. And it's a great way to introduce kids to money. And I just have a couple here, like this is silver. This is 1 ounce of silver right here. Each of these are worth $25 an ounce. And so this is a great way to teach kids about, just like getting something like creating their own treasure chest. And what they do, to have different types of silver you can buy. Like for example, this is an American Silver Eagle. And you can see they have like really cool designs on them. They're really fun to look at and collect. And my son loves this stuff. And they're from all over the world. Like this is from South Africa. That is a South African Krugerrand, $25. So I got to the point, I'll ask my son, what should we buy? Let's get some gold and silver. What you want to buy? And he say, oh, get a maple leaf. And I say, okay, I get a maple leaf. And this is a Canadian maple leaf. And this is actual money. So a lot of people just think about dollars, but this is actual money. You can take all over the world and exchange it for any currency that's out there. But a lot of people don't understand that it really exists. And that's a great way to introduce your kids to money. You can collect these. And like I say, they're only 20. They vary in price, of course. I mean, they sell it by ounce, but they go up in value, they go down in value. But what if you collected a bunch of these and you gave them to your kids and they just put them away somewhere? How do you know in 5-10 years, this $25 coin won't be worth $50 or $75? And you got a bunch of these, you got a ton of them. And so that's a great way to get them introduced into, saving money and having fun with it at the same time. Then you have Gold. This is gold. This is these are grams of gold. So what I do is I dollar cost average these things. Like you dollar cost average for your 401k, I do the same thing with this. When I get a little money, I buy a couple ounces of silver and a couple grams of gold. Now, gold is worth almost $1,800 an ounce right now. Well, people don't really hear about gold because it's not talked about, but this is very important. And there's talk that gold could get up to $2,000 an ounce, $5,000 an ounce, $10,000 an ounce. If that does, and you start collecting these things now, you can have a nice chunk of change that you can pass down to your kids. So that is just one great way to get them introduced to saving money, because it's a fun way for them to do it, and it's something that you don't hear about every day. And my son loves it.
So Jeff, I have a question about that, the gold. I know you said the value can be $1,800 an ounce for gold. Because
Yes.
I've never bought or purchased gold or silver. What does it take to even get started? Are you paying $1,800 out initially, or is it a lower price? How does all of that work initially? I know you don't want to get into
Oh,
the
see,
deep
yeah.
high level.
Oh, yeah. See, you can buy it in smaller increments. This is a gram of gold. That's just 1 gram right there. This is 2.5 grams. You can see it's just a little bit bigger, but you can buy in the smaller increments to fit your budget. These, you can buy that for less than $100, and you can just keep buying them and buying them, and eventually you'll just start to accumulate more and more. Like I have a bunch. I have a bunch of these that I've just been buying over time, but they add up. So if you can't afford to buy at one time at $1,800, that's okay. You just get a little bit at a time. I mean, it's the same thing with the silver. Like I say, this is only an ounce and it's only $25, but they have really big. You can buy these in like the kilos. You can buy really big pieces of silver, really big pieces of gold. So you can buy it in smaller increments, so it can fit your budget also. So yeah, it's very possible you can buy them online. You can go to dealers in your area who sell these things. But this is something, again, like I say, it's not talked about, and it's very unfortunate because if you got to get out of regular media to see these things, because it is really, really important that people understand the importance of gold and silver and alternative forms of money. And Alethea, you can pull up one of those links. You can pull up the one about Russia. No, not that one. Pull up the other one about the central banks.
Is that a JP Morgan?
No, not that one. Not J.P. Morgan. The other one.
It's the
I think it was
Bloomberg
Hungary.
one.
Hungary.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, this stuff is not discussed. No one talks about gold. No one talks about silver. But look at this. Hungary is a country, of course. They tripled their gold reserves. This entire country is buying gold by the ton. And people have no idea that they're doing this. So you should think to yourself, why are countries buying gold, but we're not even taught about it? All we're taught is to save our money and put it in the stock market. The point that I want to make today is there's a lot of information that we're not taught that we need to know. If Hungary is buying 94 tons of gold, that makes you wonder why they're buying gold and why am I not being taught about it? If central banks, and central banks are like our Fed, that's a central bank. But all these other countries have central banks also. If they are buying gold, but we're not taught about it, it's not even discussed. What am I missing? Why are they buying gold, but we're not even told about it? We're just told to focus on Bitcoin or the stock market. But meanwhile, you have a whole world out there of people who are doing something totally different that's not discussed, that we need to at least know about and get a feel for. All right, Letha, you can show the one about Russia now, please.
Get rid of these pop-ups.
Yeah, scroll down a bit. Yeah, that's it.
Mhm.
Okay, go up a little bit.
Okay, see?
Okay, so this is about Russia. So again, all we're told is the stock market is the way to go. Invest in the stock market, keep saving your dollars. But Russia is holding gold. They have more gold than American dollars. So a lot of people are thinking, I never even thought about holding gold or buying gold. What's the big deal? If these central banks are buying gold, if Hungary is buying gold, if Russia holds more gold than US dollars, that should make you wonder, what am I missing out on? What's going on out here in the world that I don't know? So this is why I just want to just discuss this and just put it in people's head. I'm not telling people what to do, but what I do suggest is you do your research and see what's going on out there that is available to you aside from just holding money in cash in the stock market, because there's a lot of information out there that people need to know about.
Because you had also said something about the petrodollar one time in one of the conversations, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, Petrodollars. Okay, well, let me say it like this. The US dollar is considered the reserve currency of the world. The US dollar considered like the currency. Everyone is supposed to be focused on the US dollar. And the reason why the US dollar is so important is because of what's called petrodollars. What that basically means is if a country wants to buy oil, they have to use US dollars. So if you are in China and you want to buy oil from, say, Afghanistan or wherever, you have to use US dollars to do it. So every country in the world, if you need oil, you got to have US dollars, US currency, which makes our currency very powerful in the world. Now, the problem is if we don't use petrodollars anymore, then our currency is going to be in a world of trouble, and its value could decrease. The value of our dollar could decrease. And a lot of people don't really understand that. They don't really know that there's a lot of history going on with our dollar, and they just assume everything is just going to stay the same, but it could change at any minute. So to protect yourself, this is why you want to start investing in things outside of the US dollar. Because if you do that, then you can protect yourself from, say, stock market crashes, inflation, things of that nature. Because I don't know if you guys have noticed, the price of a lot of things are going up. If you go to the grocery store, you see the price of things are going up. That's a sign that the dollar may be losing its value. And I know you guys know about the stimulus checks. We've all gotten, $1,400. The thing about that is they're just printing money. They're just printing money literally off a printing press and giving it out. So the more money they print, the less value our dollars hold, and it makes things more expensive. It can make inflation go up. So to protect yourself from that, people are getting worried about the value of the dollar. So what they're doing, they're buying gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. They're trying to get out and away from the US dollar to protect their wealth. So that's where the petrodollars come in. But again, this stuff isn't taught. So if someone hears this for the first time, they'll be like, I don't know what the hell this dude's talking about. And that's perfectly fine. But sometimes you just have to put it in their head to let them know there's a whole world out there that you need to be aware of. And that's where the petrodollars comes in.
I came to coin the phrase that my grandmother used to say, there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? And so if you're looking to
Exactly.
have some level of, always felt that you have to start with financial stability before you can progress to financial security, right? And so in doing that, you have to follow some of those methods with 401ks, find the coins, different savings to help transition to that point. So it is not a run out there tomorrow and try to do it, but actually learn what it means, and make sure you don't
Right.
have a kid like me, because my mother used to save those silver dollars. She had a whole big old thing from them,
Mhm.
and I took them to the candy store.
Right.
And they had value to
Mhm.
them, and I didn't know. Like you said, one taught. All I knew was mommy was hiding out on some money, and I wanted to get some candy to,
Mhm.
impress my friends. And so teaching children,
Exactly.
and I guess especially with you and Chanel, having kids now, teach them not to be the kid that I was, so they have a better appreciation for money and for savings. I agree that now is the time to teach, right? Now is definitely the time to teach them to learn these different things because of everything, like you said, that's going on with the dollars, with the oils, with all these little different things. Um, and it's interesting how it's coming about in the middle of the pandemic too. So like, wait a minute, when the pandemic first started, I was paying $1.79 for gas. How come they want $3.25 now? We don't really think about it, what's causing it. We're just frustrated that this is adding to my expenses right now at the time I really can't afford it. And I think we don't really understand the differences between inflation and recession. A lot of people get kind of confused with that. Jeff, could you give a little bit more insight on that too? And I think Chanel has some she
Well,
wanted.
inflation. Well, I'll just say real quick, inflation is basically the price of goods and services are increasing. And what happens at the same time, the value of the dollar decreases. Look at it like this. You can buy a lot more with $20 30 years ago than you can today. That's your purchasing power decreasing. So to protect yourself from that purchasing power decreasing, you put money outside of dollars, which is why you want to buy stuff like this. Because what happens is when that purchasing power of the dollar decreases, this increases in value. So that's what it is. So look at it like this. 30 years ago, actually back in 1971, $35 would have bought you 1 ounce of gold. 1 ounce of gold, $35. Now, if you take that 1 ounce of gold today and at $35, you can see the huge difference. That $35 back in 1971 today gets you hardly anything. But that 1 ounce of gold, is $1,800. So this is the plan for people. Instead of putting all your money in cash that can decrease in value, you want to put it in something else. So that's basically, this protects you from inflation. This protects you from inflation. This also protects you from if there's a stock market crash. Also protects you from a stock market crash. So look at it like this also. We're taught to save our money for retirement. And you hope and pray that it goes up in value. That's basically the plan. It's going to go up in value and you can live off your retirement. What if it doesn't go up as high as you want or need? What if right before you retire, the stock market crashes? What's your plan B? What are you going to do then? That's something that people need to think about. Um, I have a really good analogy for you, and I'm going to talk about recession in a second. We all exercise, we all work out. If you told me you work out, Alethea, and I say, oh, great, what do you do? And you say, I run. I would say, okay, cool. What else do you do? I walk with my dog. Okay, cool. What else do you do? Um, I jog on the track at around my house. Okay, cool. What else you do? I walk on the elliptical. Okay, what else you do? I walk on the treadmill. Okay, What if you hurt your ankle and you can't run anymore or walk anymore? What are you going to do? Well, I'm just going to sit at home and wait till I feel better. Then I start walking again. You all know there are different exercises you can do to work out. It's the same thing with money. There's different things you can do, but all we're taught is the stock market. And so it's very important that people understand there's different things you can do instead of just one thing. And instead of waiting for you to get better, or instead of waiting for the stock market to come back up, there's other things you can be doing at the same time. But again, this isn't taught. So it's very frustrating because there's so much people could be doing, but no one knows about it. And I'll say one more tidbit about that. I was a financial advisor for years, but we could not talk about anything other than stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and options because we didn't get paid to talk about real estate. We didn't get paid to talk about other things that you could do with your money to help it grow. So you having a financial advisor, yes, they're going to tell you about the stock market, but there's a whole world out there, so people really need to understand that. But again, it's not discussed. It can be tricky for some people, especially in the beginning, because it can be so overwhelming because it's so much. But the key is to get started and just learn and have an exit plan. Have a plan B. What's your strategy? If the stock market goes down, what are you going to do? You're just going to wait for it to come back up before you start making money and take care of yourself? There are other things you can do, which is where the passive income comes in, which is buying the gold and things of that nature. It's very important.
And
All right, Jeff, you dropping those gems tonight, brother. That is awesome. I mean, I'm learning so much about just silver and gold, and I think the importance of diversifying your, those avenues or those revenue streams is spot on. Talk a little bit about how, as entrepreneurs, we can be responsible and manage our finances, and how we can position ourselves, with retirement or those expansion um, opportunities, or to help our businesses grow and to position us to kind of have that passive income as well. Any strategies or tips you can share?
I tell you my personal strategy. You guys know I have 11 books. When I sell books every month, when I get the money from those books, that's passive income, I turn right back around and I buy gold and silver with it. That's one thing I do. Another thing I do is, Julie, you said something about me a couple of weeks ago. You said I'm an entrepreneur on steroids. What I do is, this is where the passive income comes in. I create assets. I'm creating my own assets. I'm creating things that I can sell. That is what I do. That's how I generate my passive income. So it's very important that you have strategies and think of different things you can do. I have the books. I have the camps. I have the online courses now. So I have many different things that I'm doing. And I look at it like Tyler Perry. Whether you like him or not, you have to respect his business savvy, because he has plays, he has movies, he has, I don't know how many TV shows he has now. Now the average person may be like, he got too much going on, he don't need all that, but he's generating assets. He has all these different streams of income. So if one isn't doing well, he got all these others. If one of his TV shows flops, hey, he got like 8, 9 more. He got another movie coming out. Cool. And what did he do with that money from all of that? He created a studio. So now he has people coming to him to use his studio. So now he has all these different asset and income streams. That is the key. And what he did was the blueprint. And you can look around and see other entrepreneurs who did the same thing. Drake is an example. He's on every song, and he does that because that's his asset. That's his revenue stream. He's creating multiple streams of income and different assets. So as an entrepreneur, you can tell yourself, okay, so I have this here. I got this business over here. Well, when I get a little bit of money, I am going to, you can use my example, I'm going to buy some gold, or I'm going to buy some Bitcoin. When this thing gets really big, I'm going to take that money, and I'm not going to buy a car, a fancy house. I'm going to buy a franchise and have someone working my franchise for me. I'm going to create another business of some sort. That is what you do. And before you know it, you're going to have several streams of income. So whatever business you're doing, look at what you're doing and see, how can I expand my business? How can I create another revenue stream from this business? So like I say, with my example I have different books, and I do more books. And from the books, I was able to be a ghostwriter. I mean, I charge $85 an hour to be a ghostwriter. And I can do that because I have all these books and all the other stuff behind me to back me up. So as an entrepreneur, you can look at what you're doing and say, what can I create from this? Like you, Chanel, you have the travel agency. And we did talk about this before. You can create, products and accessories, and you can create that website and say, these are the things that I use, and this is what I take on my trips, and maybe you should consider buying this. That is another revenue stream for you right there, just from giving suggestions on what people should take on their trips. So you got to be creative and find out what you can do to do that. Alethea, you're a filmmaker. You can start a course. You can create an online course for people. This is how to do it, and they can just buy your course. You can find different ways to create that revenue stream, multiple revenue streams from what you're doing right now. So that's what I suggest entrepreneurs do. You want to learn how to make money by sleeping. When you sleep, how can you still make money? How can you still generate that revenue? So that is the key. So whatever business you're in, you have to just think, what could I do? How could I start making additional revenue streams just from this one source of income?
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there, and it's that same mindset. So if you know there are several different things that you want to do as an entrepreneur, get one going first. Get that established, and then another one comes up, like Jeff said, the multiple streams of income. You can do that. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, Jeff, and you spoke on it a little bit, especially when you started talking about retirements. Now, there are different ways that people can get 401ks and different things like that, like veritable life insurance policies. These are different things that people can fall back on. So have you ever talked to someone about doing that? Do you like the idea of that?
Yes and no. And I say yes and no because I used to sell life insurance, health insurance, and variable annuity insurance years ago, and I've moved away from that. Let me backtrack. Life insurance is key. You gotta have life insurance. I remember when I was a broker, and people opened accounts with $300,000 and $500,000. I'm like, how in the hell are you getting this money? You were like 22 years old. How are you opening a $250,000, account, savings, a trading account? Life insurance. It's very important to have that life insurance to set up your heirs. Why do we need to start over every single time someone dies? Why we got to start from ground zero? Why we need to GoFundMe? If we have that life insurance, it can really help, our heirs, our kids. But it comes back to financial literacy and understanding how money works. When you get that money, you don't turn around and just go blow it on the house. You gotta learn how to make that money work for you. So yeah, that is definitely something that people can use. It's another way to generate revenue, and it also has some tax advantages too. To set up those annuities and things of that nature. A lot of people don't know this, but with some of these annuities, if you get sued, it can't be touched by your creditors. If you get sued, you have a variable annuity, they can't touch it. A lot of people don't realize that. So a lot of wealthy people, they use tax shelters, and that's just another form of a tax shelter. They have these estates, they have these trusts, they have these annuities, and you can't touch that. And so they have that money set up over there someplace. O.J. Simpson has an annuity.
Yep.
O.J. Simpson has an annuity, and if I remember correctly, he got sued out the wazoo for years by a lot of people, but he had that annuity, and I don't remember how much he was getting, but I think it was like $25,000 a month of that annuity for life. So yeah, you can sue me, but if you can't touch my annuity, you think I'm gonna be crying if I got 25 grand a month coming every month and no one can touch it? So there's little things like that that people don't know. So again, people are just focused on the stock market. They're watching it every day. Oh, GameStop is up, I'm set. There's a whole world out there that people need to understand. And like you said, annuities is another one. And a lot of people are using these things to shelter their money, to keep it away from creditors, to keep it away from people trying to sue them. And it helps them grow. They teach their kids about this stuff. And then you got a whole nother generation who understand that. But again, it's not taught in school.
Yeah, my dad did the Gerba life insurance thing for Tati. I didn't know until
Mm-hmm.
she went to college. And then he sent us the information, and she had money built up in it that she was able to use for college. It was like either you want
Mm-hmm.
to extend it or do you want to get the cash from it. So it has the cash value, and that was an extra hitch for her when she went to college. And sometimes, especially with single moms or whatever, we don't think about that. We just look at that as additional expense. And it's like, I don't know if I swing it, do I need to swing
Right.
it? But this conversation right here says how important it is to do that because, in the midst of COVID and all this other stuff, you're looking at all these different families, like you said, with the GoFundMe, people leaving bills instead of wills. And, now is the time to really start looking at that seriously.
Exactly. And like I said, I don't get upset when people they give me pushback on this because they're not taught. Again, if you're bombarded with since you're 6 years old, and we've all heard it, we've all experienced it. Our parents told you, you got to go to school, you got to go to school, you got to get that job, you got to get that job, you got to get a good paying job so you can pay all your bills and live comfortably. So we're mentally conditioned, and it's ingrained for us to get that one job, let that one paycheck cover all our bills. And so when someone like me comes around, they look at me like I'm crazy, like I don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm trying to tell them that there's a whole nother world out there. The gold and silver, like you said, the annuities, people don't understand, and they just don't get it. But it's up to us to just keep talking and just plant that seed, especially in our young kids, because they are receptive to these different things, and that can really open their eyes and let them know, oh, you know what, maybe I don't want to go to college. Maybe I want to do something else. I don't like the stock market. I don't trust the stock market. Maybe is there something else I can do? So if the stock market crashes, what do I do? That's where this type of conversation comes in. And we can talk about the pandemic real quick. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people are on the verge of getting, evicted because, how do you say it? Moratoriums,
Moratoriums.
where they can moratoriums, thank you, where they can kick you out of your house. But what if you have these multiple streams of income set up? So that way you're not worried about this one job because you have these others set up. That's the importance of multiple streams of income. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you're just relying on that one check. There's a lot of things that you could be doing to save yourself. But again, it's not taught. I keep stressing it's not taught, that people have to just expand their mind, like, let me see what else is out here. Because not everyone is involved in the stock market. They're putting money in other places, which is why I wanted you to show that those two links about the gold. There's a lot of money that's not in the stock market that can do very well for you at the same time.
Julie, what's your take on it?
Wow, it's a lot. But I was been sitting here thinking, Jeff. I think Chanel asked a question about how to, what are some resources and some strategies on helping folks to manage our money a little better. What are your thoughts for those who may have a mindset of, you know, I'm saving, I have my 401k, all of this good stuff, but I prefer to live in the moment and not necessarily, I'll save, but not save a whole lot, because when you leave this world, you can't take it with you. What do you say to a mindset such as that?
Good question.
Well, I agree with that. Life is too short. You got to have some fun too, which is where the passive income and multiple streams of income come in. I don't understand this. We're supposed to sacrifice our whole life. And then when you finally old enough to retire, you're too sick to enjoy it. Come on now. This is where the passive income comes in. If you have 8, 9, 10 sources of income at one time, you best believe you can enjoy yourself and have a little fun right now. And at the same time, when you are ready to retire, you hit that retirement age, you can still do what you want to do and still have money for retirement. So when someone says that, I say you can do that, but you have no choice but to change your mindset, because you need money, period. A lot of people say, money doesn't buy happiness, but it pays for the light bill. It pays for your medicine. So you still need money, whether you want to admit it or not. But you want to be homeless, you still need money. So I tell people, you have to start thinking outside the box. You have no choice. So you want to live life now and enjoy it and not really worry about the future? Okay, start creating that passive income now. So you can do that. That's the only way, because if you just want to just live, you can do that, but it's going to come back to haunt you in 2, 5, 10 years if you're not playing.
So then with that said, what are some simple examples of some passive income? Because while one person may be creative and can think of things to create passive income, somebody else may be like, I don't even know where to start. Can you just give some simple examples that people can think about as, for passive income?
Yeah. One simple one is vending machines. That is very simple. You can literally make anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 on one vending machine. Now you may say that's a lot of money. What if you have 10 vending machines? You don't even have to go stock them yourself. You can lease the machines, and you can have other people come in and stock them. You can have security come in and collect the money from the vending machines for you. That is just one way of making passive income. Another way of making passive income is if you pool your money with some of your friends and you guys buy a franchise together. You buy Chick-fil-A, you buy Popeyes, you buy whatever. I mean, that's another way. Another way to generate passive income is, we talked about this before we started. Create an ebook. Create an ebook. Sell it for, I don't know, sell it for $2.99, $5.99, 99 cents. You get 1 million people to buy that ebook, you sitting pretty, period. You can do that. You can create a YouTube channel. And on that YouTube channel, you can do a how to change a light on a Lincoln Navigator. And I use that example because I had to go on YouTube to figure out how to change the light. You can do little things like that you can do, and it doesn't cost you a lot of money to get started. Here's the key with passive income, though. It's not the same as earned income. Earned income is when you work in a job and you get paid every 2 weeks. Passive income can take time to build. But unfortunately, a lot of people, they lose patience and think, I didn't did this for a couple of weeks, I ain't made no money yet, I'm ready to quit. It takes time to build that passive income. It takes time to write that ebook. It takes time to build that YouTube channel to get those subscribers. So you have to be patient with the passive income. But once it's set up, then it can do very well for you. So again, it all starts in the mind, but you have to have patience. You have to think ahead, because it's not the same, again, like I said, as the earned income, where we are mentally prepared, or it's ingrained in our head that if I work, I'm going to get paid in 2 weeks. That's not how this works. It's a little different. But with the passive income, the amount of money you can make is unlimited. With the earned income, with that job that you have, you know how much you're going to make in 2 weeks. You know exactly how much you're going to make per hour. But with the passive income, it's an open opportunity to make as much as you can. And it can last forever if you play your cards right.
And I think the basis of it is too, so when we say passive income, that's still you branching out, being an entrepreneur, right? And so to Julie's question, like we shared a list, Dion shared the 15 different types of things you can do to become an entrepreneur. And that's literally also creating passive income. I think one was walking dogs. Another one was being a personal trainer. I'm a photographer, a virtual assistant, all these little different things, even with the social media thing that Jeff was talking about. All those things, even though he's calling it passive income, it still puts you in the mode to be an entrepreneur. And so, like personal chef, things you like to cook, get your little styrofoam things from Sam's Club and have at it, and get your clientele going. All these different things can create what Jeff is saying is passive income. But again, you are in an entrepreneurship mode. One thing I would like to add to that is people figure out how you're going to do it and how is it going to cost. I think it's also very important to say when you're deciding you want to venture out into something different, make sure you're managing your budget, right? I think when you have a spreadsheet and you're tracking how you're spending your money, you can actually see more where you may be wasting your money. And where you're wasting your money is money you could be using to invest in that passive income source. So I think it's always important to start that process too, because I'm a spreadsheet king. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I need to remind myself I know I got the bank statement, but I need to forecast what I'm spending, how I'm spending it, and look at myself and say, I spent $1,200 at Walmart this year. What did I buy other than toilet tissue and tissue and all and paper towels and stuff? So you really need to look at your finances when you're looking to venture out. Because like Jeff said, the passive income, if you want to do the ebook, yes, it takes a little bit. But you'll be surprised sometimes, the stories that you have in yourself. And once you start typing or writing, how it comes out to you. So don't think it's going to take you a year to do it. If you're really thinking about it, most people can write a book anywhere between 30 and 90 days. Amazon makes it real easy for you to get your ebook up and running now. It ain't like it was a couple years back. It's like quick, and all this other stuff. So don't be intimidated by the sound of something that you haven't experienced before. The options are there. Nothing beats a failure but a try, like my mom said. So you jump out there and you try it. And if it takes a minute to succeed. Just because you did it doesn't mean it's going to be instant, succeeding. Family and friends may buy your book, but like Jeff said, find different ways to get your message out there for people to start supporting you. Don't depend on family and friends to support you. They may first month, but then that next month you ain't got no book sales because everybody done bought your book. So definitely look into it. Write the steps down that you need to take to venture out to where you want to go. I think it's important to be structured and organized as you start creating what venture you want to create for your passive income, or if you're just planning on leaving corporate America, that's it, I had it. Next pandemic, I'm running on my own, and then really dive into, what it is that you love to do. I think to me, the best part of being an entrepreneur is having a passion for specific things. Maybe one, two, or three, like me, or it may be one particular thing, and then you stay and invest at it. But, where your passion is at, where your heart is at, I promise you'll find the energy to pursue it and accomplish your dreams and your goals. Chanel? Oh, sorry, you?
I was going to say, you hit on something so important, and I wanted to see if Jeff could talk about it for just a second. You can't really rely on true family and friends to support you. Talk a little bit about, family is family can be your biggest supporter initially.
Mm-hmm.
But when you say or ask them to invest, then everybody wants to ghost on you.
Yeah.
Talk about ways of, and then you mentioned something about franchises, Jeff, with some friends and all that good stuff. I know that there's got to be some challenges with that, and there's got to be some positives with that as well too. But I would think you have to have like-minded folks,
yeah,
to start an investment such as a franchise like that. Talk to us about the mindset of family and friends, and then going into business with them.
I'll tell you, my first book, I was so excited. I told all my friends about it. I shared it on Facebook. I emailed each one individually asking to buy it. I got like 2% of my family and friends to buy my book. So I realized right then and there, I can't rely on them. So I have to look outside of them. So that taught me that I have to create a product that people want to buy, period. I have to create a product so good that you don't care if I'm your friend or not, you want it. So a lot of people, unfortunately, they rely on that family and friend because, you're my family, you're my friend, you're supposed to hook me up. You can't rely on that. You cannot rely on that. You can't rely on, I don't know how many friends people have. I have like 800 friends on Facebook. I can't rely on them. Half of them only see my posts. So I have to go outside of them. And I'm right now, I sell books in, a couple weeks ago, I sold a book in France. I sold a couple books in the UK, and I don't know anybody over there. So I've expanded my horizon to think outside of my friends. So if you're an entrepreneur, don't rely on your friends. Don't expect them to hook you up, because if you do, you'll be bitterly disappointed. And if they do hook you up, 9 times out of 10, it's a sympathy sale. And you can't live on sympathy sales. You got to live on sales that, because your product is so good, people want to buy it, period. So get out that mindset. You're going to get that hookup. Get in the mindset that my product is so good, that it's so on point, that it's so professional, that people want to buy it in spite of even knowing me. So I think that's the first step, because if you rely on other people, you're going to be disappointed, and it's going to be very discouraging, especially for a new entrepreneur. But you have to get outside of them and get past that. I think that's the key. Now, as far as you said, the franchise and like-minded people, you have to, because not everyone understands this. That's the key. Everything I talked about today about the earned income, for example, a lot of people have that, I'm gonna get paid in 2 weeks. If you're starting a business, it could be 2 months. It could be 2 years before you start making money. Not everyone can handle that. It took Amazon like 7 years to become profitable.
Mm-hmm.
How many of your friends are going to stick around for 7 years? Not many. So you got to have that mindset. Okay, we going in business. We cool and all, but this is business. Are you ready? If you're not ready, keep your money, because I'm not going to deal with you calling me every 2 days talking about what's going on with this business. You know what's going on. It takes time. Quit calling me. If you got a problem, get over here and you help. And it's still going to take another couple months to start making money. So we got to get in that mindset. People have to understand that it's not going to happen overnight. Passive income doesn't happen overnight. Running a successful business doesn't happen overnight. But that's where the mindset comes in. And again, none of this is taught in school. All we're taught is to go get a job. They don't teach you how to create a job, how to start a job, the hard work it takes to get that job, that business up and running. No one teaches you that. So this is where all of this starts up here, and understanding what it takes. And that's very important.
No, I agree with that.
What if there, I'm sorry. What if there are like students or young kids who don't necessarily have the opportunity or resources to learn or hear what you're saying today? What's another way that they can be reached?
YouTube. You learn so much on YouTube these days.
Mm-hmm.
The information is out there. A lot of people surf the net and they're just looking at, gossip or whatever. But the key is to really get out there and learn, and it's out there. I know we got to go shortly, but this is what I will say. Me personally, I told you I got the gold and silver. I'm thinking ahead. I don't have what I need right now to get what I want to do. But when the opportunity comes up, I will be ready. So I'm preparing now. I'm learning everything I can now. Like I'm learning about real estate right now. Do I have any rental property? No. But eventually I will one day. So what am I doing? I'm on YouTube learning about lease options and all these different things. So when opportunity comes, I'll be ready. When will I be ready? When the market crashes and this stuff goes up in value. I'm going to sell this and get my rental property. So that's what a lot of people have to do. I don't have the money for something right now, but I have an idea. So what can I do? Oh, I could start researching. Oh, I can buy a little gold and silver. Maybe I get a little Bitcoin. When that money comes up, I won't go buy a fancy car. I'm going to go and invest in this new asset. So start planning now. It may not happen for another year or two, but when it comes, you want to be ready. So again, it's that old phrase. You don't have to, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So it's just planning ahead. You may not be ready right now to open a franchise like you, Julie. But if you study and learn about it, when opportunity comes, you'll be ready. You can hit the ground running.
Yeah, you don't have no kids and you need some tax write-off, property is just as good as kids. Put it that way. It's just as good as it's just, you're making money off it, but it's still, when it's time to do your taxes, having a kid, not having a kid and having a house, same kind of little benefit that you get from it. That's like the easiest way to look at it.
That's
You
why you
have
get
no
a bank
kids,
loan.
get a whole lot of
A
rental
bank
property.
loan.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
get bank loans. You don't have to pay taxes on the loans. People don't realize that's why people go in debt. There's good debt and bad debt. Good debt is the bank loan that you use to buy an asset, not the bad debt to buy a TV. That's different.
Okay, so at that, I'm gonna give Jeff a chance to say last word tonight.
Last word. Thanks for the opportunity to leave here. I told you this. I tell you this all the time. I have so much respect for you. Thanks for doing what you're doing. I want to say real quick, Dave Ramsey is right up to an extent, and you said it too. Watch what you spend your money on. Spend your money wisely and use that money that you spent frivolously, that $1,200. You could have bought you a ton of gold and silver, and you still got that money for when the time is right. So yes, watch what you spend it on, but spend it on something that's going to help your money grow, not make you poor.
Agreed. Julie?
I really don't have much to say after that follow-up. I just want to say thank you, Jeff, for the information that you shared on tonight. Is very informative. There were some nuggets that you dropped that I wasn't aware of. And so thank you for the opportunity to share.
Chanel?
I'm disappointed. I was waiting for you to make some jokes.
Now when you're talking about
So
money.
Really serious about money.
Passive income.
Chanel?
Yeah, ditto. I would say same as Julie, Jeff. This was really educational for me on many levels. But what I took from it is really diversifying your income, obviously, but then also really seeking your skills. What's inside of you? What are you already doing where you can diversify your source of income in that way as well to create those streams of passive income. So thank you for dropping all these gems and knowledge on everybody tonight.
I agree with both Julie and Chanel tonight, Jeff. And it takes me back to our days at National Geographic. Jeff in the books and talking finance and everything. And what you bring to the table, part of this panel, that knowledge, that wealth of knowledge on how to build wealth, in fact, has always been invaluable to us. So I greatly appreciate that. You really shared a lot of information. I know people are probably going to have questions from me, but I appreciate it too because I learn and I constantly learn from you too. I'm trying to get to that passive income. I'm working on it. And so, but I appreciate you. I appreciate the knowledge that you bring to us every week. And no, Jeff, Julie didn't decide to crack on me this week. She decided to let it go.
I'm so disappointed. Chanel too.
Look, the only thing I can say is slide one of them gold and silver coins.
Right.
Put that in the envelope, send it over to Charlotte. That would be great.
Singing that song from the Wiz, slide the coins to.
Does Mahogany want one too?
Right. You get a coin. You get a coin. You get a coin.
Exactly. He's so proud of me. Another great show. Thank you guys so much. Everybody have a great week.